The rain fell in relentless sheets, drumming against the rooftops and turning the narrow city streets into rivers of shimmering reflections. People hurried beneath umbrellas, anxious to escape the storm, paying little attention to the frightened little girl weaving desperately through the crowd. "Help!" she cried, her voice cracking. "Please, somebody help my mama." No one stopped. Some looked at her with pity before lowering their eyes. Others assumed it was another family argument, something they didn't want to become involved in. In this neighborhood, people had learned that interfering in other people's problems could bring dangerous consequences. 7-year-old Lily refused to give up. Her lungs burned from running, and her small legs felt ready to collapse, but she forced herself forward. Her blonde hair clung to her face, soaked by the rain, while tears mixed with the water streaming down her cheeks. Only minutes earlier, she had been hiding beneath the kitchen table. Her mother, Emily, had been arguing with her boyfriend, Derek. At first it was shouting, something Lily sadly knew all too well. But then came the crash of breaking glass. Emily screamed. Lily peeked from beneath the table just in time to see Derek shove her mother against the wall. Another man standing beside him laughed as Emily struggled to protect herself. "Please stop," Emily begged. Instead, Derek struck her again. Emily spotted Lily hiding nearby. Despite the pain on her face, she forced herself to smile. "Run, sweetheart," she whispered. "Go find help. Don't come back until you do." Those words echoed through Lily's mind with every step she took. She couldn't lose her mother. Emily was all she had. After turning another corner, Lily suddenly noticed an unusual silence spreading through the street. Luxury black SUVs rolled slowly to a stop outside an expensive restaurant. Their engines hummed quietly as men dressed in tailored black suits stepped out one by one. Pedestrians immediately moved aside. Shop owners lowered their voices. Several people simply walked away without looking back. Everyone knew who had arrived. Victor Moretti. Some called him a ruthless businessman. Others whispered that he controlled half the city's underground world. Whether the stories were true hardly mattered. His reputation alone was enough to make grown men tremble. The rear door of the largest SUV opened. Victor stepped onto the wet pavement. He was tall, impeccably dressed, and carried himself with calm confidence. His dark coat barely moved despite the wind, and his expression revealed nothing. His bodyguards formed a protective circle around him. Just as Victor prepared to enter the restaurant, Lily spotted him. She didn't know who he was. She didn't know why everyone looked terrified. All she saw was someone powerful enough to make people listen. Gathering every ounce of courage she had left, she ran straight toward him. "Sir." The bodyguards reacted instantly. "Stop." One of them reached for her arm. Victor raised a single hand. The guard froze immediately. Lily threw herself against Victor's leg, sobbing uncontrollably. "They're beating my mama," she cried. "Please, please help her." The entire street fell silent. Nobody had ever dared touch Victor Moretti without permission. His men watched carefully, expecting him to push the child away. Instead, Victor slowly looked down. The little girl clung to his coat with tiny trembling hands. Mud covered her shoes. A bruise darkened one side of her face. Her fear wasn't fake. Victor knelt until they were eye level. "What is your name?" he asked quietly. "Lily." "And your mother's name?" "Emily." "Who is hurting her?" "My mama's boyfriend, and another man." Victor studied the bruise on Lily's cheek. "Did he do that too?" "You." She nodded. Victor's face remained calm. Only the slight tightening of his jaw betrayed the anger growing inside him. One of his oldest bodyguards recognized that expression immediately. Someone was about to regret their choices. Victor gently removed his expensive handkerchief and wiped the rain and tears from Lily's face. "Can you show me where your mother is?" Lily pointed down the street with shaking fingers. "It's only 2 blocks. Victor stood. His calm voice carried surprising authority. "We're leaving." No one questioned the order. The convoy immediately changed direction. Bodyguards surrounded Lily protectively as they walked beside Victor through the rain. People watched from windows and doorways, whispering among themselves. "What is Victor doing? Who's that little girl? I've never seen him stop for anyone." Lily looked up at the tall stranger walking beside her. "Will you really help my mama?" Victor glanced at her. "I gave you my word." For reasons she couldn't explain, Lily believed him. Within minutes they reached an aging apartment building with cracked walls and broken lights. The entrance door hung crooked on rusty hinges. Another scream echoed from inside. Lily froze. That's her. Victor looked toward the stairwell. Every bodyguard instinctively adjusted his stance. The atmosphere changed instantly. This was no longer a walk. It was a mission. They climbed the stairs until they reached apartment 3B. Muffled shouting came from inside. Something heavy crashed against the floor. Emily cried out again. Lily instinctively moved toward the door, but Victor gently placed a hand on her shoulder. "Stay behind us." She nodded. Victor signaled one of his men. The bodyguard tried the handle. Locked. Without hesitation, Victor gave a single command. "Open it." The first kick splintered the wooden frame. The second sent cracks racing across the door. The third shattered it completely. The door exploded inward. Inside, the room fell silent. Two men turned in shock. Emily lay on the floor, bruised and trembling. And standing in the broken doorway, surrounded by men in black suits, was the last person either attacker ever expected to see. Victor Moretti. The cold look in his eyes told them everything they needed to know. The broken apartment door hung crooked on its hinges, rain blowing in from the hallway behind the men in black. Splintered wood covered the floor, and the silence inside the tiny apartment felt heavier than the storm outside. Emily struggled to lift her head. Her lip was bleeding, one eye was beginning to swell shut, and she wrapped her arms around herself as if trying to disappear. When she saw Lily standing safely behind the strangers, tears filled her eyes, not from fear this time, but from relief. "Lily," she whispered. "I'm here, Mama." The little girl cried, trying to run to her. Victor gently stopped her. "Wait." His calm voice carried an authority that even frightened children instinctively obeyed. Across the room, Derek recovered from his surprise. "Who the hell are you?" he demanded, trying to sound confident. No one answered. Victor simply looked at him. The silence made Derek increasingly uncomfortable. The second man, larger and heavily tattooed, took a nervous step backward. He had recognized Victor immediately. He leaned toward Derek and whispered urgently, "That's Victor Moretti." Derek frowned. "So what?" The tattooed man swallowed hard. "So what? That's the man everyone fears." Only then did Derek notice the disciplined bodyguards standing perfectly still behind Victor. None of them looked nervous. None of them looked angry. They looked prepared. Victor finally spoke. "Which one of you touched the child?" Neither man answered. Victor glanced at Lily. She quietly pointed at Derek. "He pushed me." Victor nodded once. "I see." There was no shouting, no threats. His calmness was somehow far more frightening. Derek laughed nervously. "This is a family matter. Stay out of it." Victor slowly walked farther into the apartment. His polished shoes crunched over broken glass. "I disagree." Derek clenched his fists. "You think you can just walk into my home?" Victor's eyes swept across the room. The shattered coffee table, the overturned chairs, the broken picture frame showing Emily and Lily smiling at a park months earlier. "This stopped being your home," Victor said quietly, "the moment you turned it into a battlefield." Emily watched in disbelief. She had heard countless rumors about Victor Moretti over the years. Some called him a ruthless criminal. Others claimed he had no mercy. Yet the man standing before her wasn't shouting or acting recklessly. He seemed completely in control. Victor looked toward two of his bodyguards. "Help Miss Emily to her feet." They carefully approached her. Unlike Derek, they moved gently, asking permission before touching her injured arm. Emily winced but managed to stand. The moment Lily saw her mother steady herself, she broke free and rushed into her arms. The two hugged each other tightly. "I'm sorry," Emily whispered through tears. "You did exactly what you told me," Lily replied. "I found help." Victor watched quietly. For just a moment, something softened in his expression. Then Derek ruined the moment. "You think this is over?" Without warning, he lunged toward Emily. He never reached her. One of Victor's bodyguards stepped between them with astonishing speed, stopping Derek without throwing a punch. Derek stumbled backward and crashed into the wall. The apartment became silent once again. Victor sighed. "I was hoping you would make better choices." Derek glared at him. "You don't scare me." Victor raised one eyebrow. "No." He turned toward the tattooed man. "And you?" The larger man immediately lifted both hands. "I didn't come here to hurt anybody." Derek said they only needed to talk. Derek spun toward him. "What are you doing?" "I'm telling the truth." The man shouted. "I'm not taking the blame for this." Victor looked back at Derek. It seems your friend has made his decision. Derek realized he was suddenly alone. The confidence drained from his face. Victor stepped closer until only a few feet separated them. When someone stronger than you hurts the weak, he said quietly, they mistake cruelty for strength. He glanced toward Lily. Real strength is protecting those who cannot protect themselves. Those words filled the apartment. Even the bodyguards listened in silence. Victor gave another simple order. Take him outside. 2 bodyguards escorted Derek toward the broken doorway. For once, Derek offered no resistance. He had finally understood that his threats meant nothing here. As they disappeared into the hallway, Victor turned his attention back to Emily. Do you have family nearby? She slowly shook her head. My parents passed away years ago. Anyone else? No. Victor nodded thoughtfully. You and Lily won't be staying here tonight. Emily looked confused. I can't afford a hotel. I wasn't asking. His tone wasn't harsh. It simply left no room for argument. One of the bodyguards received a phone call through his earpiece before quietly approaching Victor. The doctor is on the way. Victor nodded. Good. Emily stared at him. You called a doctor. A child shouldn't spend another night wondering whether her mother will survive. Those words broke the last of Emily's composure. She covered her face as tears streamed down her cheeks. No stranger had ever shown her such unexpected kindness. Lily looked up at Victor. Mister. Yes. Are you a good guy? Several bodyguards exchanged amused glances. It was probably the most dangerous question anyone had ever asked their boss. Victor considered it carefully before answering. I made many mistakes in my life. Lily waited patiently. But today, he continued, I'm trying to do the right thing. The little girl smiled. For the first time that terrible day, hope returned to her eyes. Outside, the rain finally began to ease.